That is the most amazing part of all of this work, is knowing all the people out there that not just have been touched here at Recovery Centers America, but that all of you have touched, because so many of you also provide similar services to people in the community. I also want to thank all of you not only for coming today, but your work in helping people in the community with a variety of needs that they may have. You know, I've been working in this space for quite some time, and I've known many of you for years and years, and some of you I got to meet today, and I just am forever grateful. I didn't grow up in Illinois. I grew up in Michigan and kind of started my career in Michigan, but I'm so incredibly grateful for the system of care and the collaboration and the network of professionals and other supports that we have here in Illinois. And it's just amazing to me how we all work together and how we've come together to meet the needs of our community. You know, I talked earlier about how we've all survived or are working on surviving this pandemic, which, you know, we've had some ups and downs, and now maybe we're getting a little bit better, and hopefully someday we'll be able to really kind of move on and return to some type of normal, whatever that may be. But, you know, I know that all of the stress brought on by this pandemic and how life has changed has not only been hard on all of us, but it's been terribly hard for people that we serve, people that are struggling with substance use disorder and other behavioral health issues. We have seen an increase in the rates of fatal overdose from multiple substances, from the combination of using multiple substances. We see a lot of scary things in the community around very dangerous substances like synthetic opioids in the drug supply and how people are overdosing. We're seeing this increase of pressed pills that have who knows what in them, and we have people taking them and having lethal overdoses and other very, very serious effects. It's very, very scary what's going on in the world right now, and we are all continuing in this fight to make the world a safer place and to save lives and to help people find recovery and safety in life. And so thank you for all of your contributions to that. We've also seen a lot of people here in our first year of treatment who maybe have never struggled with addiction at earlier points in their life, and what they've had to deal with and how life has changed for them during the pandemic has really led to an increase in substance use, whether it's prescription pills or misuse of alcohol or other things, people that you know are struggling with addiction for the first time. We really have been challenged. You know, I'm a parent of 2 kids, and I've seen, you know, the challenges for them being away from school and being away from their friends, and I wonder, you know, how life is going to be for them and how they're going to look back, at another point in time about this time. But so I'm grateful for the work that I get to do. I'm grateful for the opportunity to help people find recovery. Grateful to be able to be here and add additional treatment capacity and resources to the state of Illinois and our surrounding area. And I just am so fortunate that I get to do this work, and I get to do this work with all of you. And so thank you so much. I want to take a minute to introduce our medical director, Dr. Steve Holtzford, who's going to speak to us for a few minutes. So Steve, if you want to come on up.
Thank you, Karen. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay. All right. As Karen said, my name is Steve Holtzford. I was actually kind of dreading this, and now I came in, I met a few people that I know, and that's good. Yeah, I was dreading this, but then I came in, and I have some familiar faces, and I'm still dreading it. So, but no, I appreciate everybody coming and seeing our beautiful campus. My name is Steve Holtzford. I am the medical director. I've lived in this community since 1998. I grew up in DeKalb. Prior to that, go Barbs. And I was, for years in the emergency department, I was really sort of the problem as it relates to patients with substance use disorder. It was only in recent years, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I became really interested in addiction medicine and reading about it, and I studied for the boards and took the boards, but it wasn't always that way. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was the ER doc that these patients would not want to see, unfortunately. I was using stigmatizing language like junkie, addict, drunk, just horrible stigmatizing language that really should never, ever be used. And it was really, when I think about it now, I just sort of cringe. And I think, could that have really been me? And it is. And I think it's sort of the evolution that happened in me has to sort of happen throughout our community. Because until we really fight the stigma around substance use disorder, we're not going to get on top of it. Because it's really that stigma that prevents patients with substance use disorder from seeking care. Because you've got patients that have significant trauma, anxiety, self-esteem problems, and they turn to drugs and alcohol because of these things. So the last thing they need is the people that are supposed to be taking care of them to add on to those characteristics and contribute to their low self-esteem and struggles and trauma. So I have made an about face, and I think that collectively as a community, if we can really sort of shift things to not stigmatize patients that struggle with substance use disorder, but embrace them, support them, make them feel as if this is just a part of life. Everybody has struggles that they go through. This is just another struggle, and we are here to help you. So these are really just people that need help, and here at RCA, they get that help. And I love to sort of say that the help that they get for substance use disorder is really not even that difficult to provide. It is, what we do is we provide a safe and stable place for them. We provide medication for withdrawal management, make sure their detox is safe and comfortable. We provide a lot of counseling, individual, group, family, that can be very powerful. And then we do a lot of case management. What's going to happen? We need a smooth transition from RCA to the community, and we get that set up. And then we have strong alumni connections. But all of those things are really not that difficult from a provider perspective. Pretty straightforward, but the hard work is done by the patient. So the recovery of the patient is difficult life challenges. But us as providers really have it pretty easy. The name of the game is support, support, support. Unconditional support, unconditional love, unconditional support. So again, it's really not that hard. Here at RCA, I think we do a wonderful job at it, and I appreciate everybody's attendance here today. Thanks.
You know, for those of you that aren't as familiar with Recovery Centers of America, so we started as a company a little over 6 years ago, and we have treatment centers in multiple other states across the country. We have treatment centers in Massachusetts, in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, in Maryland, and in the Indianapolis area, which is the closest center here, and of course here in St. Charles. We'll also be opening a new treatment center this month, an outpatient treatment site in South Elgin, so we'll be sending you out more information about that. We just received our license this week, so we're super excited for that. And we will continue to grow. You know, one of the things about RCA is we really believe that recovery is an individual path, and I think we strive as an organization and here in St. Charles to really help provide all of the tools that our patients might need for their own individual recovery plans: psychotherapy, case management services, access to community services, medication-assisted treatment, psychiatric services, ongoing therapy. It is really our job to work with our patients, understand who they are, understand their individual challenges, and really work with them on their plan for their own recovery and providing a variety of supports here while they're in treatment and in the community and beyond. And we also believe that we want patients to have a long continuum of care, through a varying array of services, so they have a long time of support. And then, of course, a lifetime of recovery supported by the peer support community and our alumni association and other people in their lives, because we know that addiction is a chronic relapsing disease for many people. And as people maybe struggle through some of the ups and downs of working through their addiction, having that support system and the resources is going to help them get through. So, other pillars and things that we know are very important here at RCA is we want treatment to be accessible. And we work very hard to be available. We work very hard to network in the community. So if maybe we encounter people who need any type of service, maybe it isn't necessarily a service we provide or we don't have available, but we work really hard to connect people. And so we're very grateful to work collaboratively with all of you. The next person I want to introduce is our alumni coordinator, Scott Browning. Scott joined us as a recovery support specialist just weeks after we opened. Yeah, so he's been with us almost since the beginning and has since transitioned into our alumni role. And so we're really, really excited to have Scott in this new role, and I'll let him come up and talk to you for a minute.
It's all right. Hey, everybody. So our goal with the alumni program is really two things. We want to help people stay connected to each other, to the facility that they came to, and inspire them to realize that wholesale, total, complete change is possible. As somebody who is in recovery and then getting a job here and then being promoted here, I want our alums to realize that there is a path to success for you. And success isn't just staying sober. It starts here, but your journey lasts long after you leave. So I want them to stay connected with each other. I want them to help each other. I want to help them. And I also want to keep them coming back and giving to others. So we've got daily meetings that they can go to. Now, these range from substance abuse recovery to spiritual open discussions to just fun stuff. We've got a Friday afternoon virtual art class. So it doesn't have to be all serious all the time. It's got to be a little bit fun. If you're not enjoying your recovery, it's not going to work. And that's something that I preach to our patients while they're here. So we do have monthly events as well. I try with my events personally, I want them to go places where alcohol is served. I want them to be able to say no. Some people have never said no in their recovery. They've never had the opportunity to. And saying no for your first time is an incredibly empowering experience. It makes you realize that this is possible, and I actually can do this. And I get a lot of feedback from our alumni who do come to our events that they've never said no until they came to an event, and now they have, and now they believe that they can continue to say no. So I think that the fact that RCA cares enough to have an alumni program to make sure that people are doing well once they leave the facility. We reach out emails every day, text messages, 2 days, 7 days, 30, 60, 90, 6 months, a year after you leave. We're making sure that you're okay, and we're making sure that if you're not, we can get you back in, detox you, and try again. You're not a failure because it didn't work. You're just something to learn from, something to grow from, and something to use on your next attempt whenever you're ready. So I am super proud of RCA as a whole. I'm super proud of St. Charles as a facility. And I'm very proud of Christine, who is one of our first patients here. And she's got a little something to tell you guys about. So I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say. And thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Christine. Bear with me, this is the first time that I have spoken public outside of a 12-step meeting and let people know how RCA helped me. So I put some notes down because I like to talk and I will ramble if I don't read them. I knew for quite a long time before coming to RCA that I had a problem. I was well aware of it. I had been drinking daily for nearly 30 years. I knew I was an alcoholic, but I believed that no one else could really tell. I believed I hid it well. I always had a thought of seeking treatment, but I always had an excuse. Usually the excuse was I wasn't about to go under the stigma that was going to happen. Look at that drunk lady over there. She had to go to rehab. That was foremost in my mind. And I wasn't going to seek help when I was going to have to go through that. I also had the idea that it would be a waste of time. I knew people that had went to recovery centers across the United States. And I also knew they went back to what they were doing. Why would I be any different? And of course, I had this glorified idea that people needed me. My family needed me. My clients needed me. My students needed me. What they needed was me to be me, and that's not what I was. I finally made the decision to call. I had recently had a grandchild. He was 4 weeks old at the time. And I looked down in his face, and I recalled thinking, I am never going to see this kid grow up. I had seen a commercial for recovery centers earlier that day, and I had, for whatever reason, jotted down the number. So I called it, and within 1 hour, my husband was driving me here for admittance. 1 hour, and I'm glad that they could take me when they did, because Lord knows I might have changed my mind. My intake process is kind of a blur. I was 3 sheets to the wind plus when I came in here. I do remember Stephanie, the head of the nursing, coming to the car and escorting me in. I remember worrying about being judged, but that's not what I got. She didn't judge me, and she was kind to me. And in my head, I thought to myself, why is she being kind to me? I don't deserve that. It was such a new experience for me. I wish I could say that I was kind to the other people in my recovery in my early days. I wasn't. I was quite defiant. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at myself, at the world, at my neighbor down the street. And everybody that cared for me got the brunt of that. To their credit, never, ever did they judge me or fight back with me. They were patient, and they took their time with me, and that's what I needed. On one of my last tirades about leaving, Dr. Zisman, Dr. Mark, he pulled me out from walking back from a group to have a talk with me. Now, he wasn't my therapist on record. He was my therapist's boss. But he pulled me out to talk to me, and he said something to me to the effect that, I know you're going through all this emotional pain. I know it's hard. You're not drinking, you have to feel that. And you're not going to get better unless you start feeling that. Then he said to me, give me just a couple more days. Give RC just a couple more days. And I did, and boy, am I glad that I did. Because once I let down all of those walls, I started to learn. And learning things that I didn't know, and let me tell you, I knew everything. I could tell you how to treat me. I could tell you how to do this. But once I let down all that strong facade on my part, I started to realize that I didn't know anything, and that so far my life didn't work. I started to learn through RCA the importance of nutrition, spirituality, physical activity. I started to learn that continued mental health was going to have to be a part of my new normal. They gave me lots of tools to learn to cope with life. And when I say that, I don't mean just to learn to cope with how not to drink ever again. It was actually to help me in my life, everyday life. I use these skills. They call it my toolbox, and my toolbox is well used. They did teach me one thing that I never expected to learn. You know, you can have fun without alcohol. I never thought that was possible. They arranged a picnic for everybody while I was here. We had the food outside, we had music, we had bags games. We had the gym open. Everybody was there, community, whatever. I didn't want to go. But some of the peers that were here with me talked me into it. While I was there, they all tended to head back to where they were, back to the cottage, and I kind of sat back, and I remember sitting on the picnic table right out front here, watching the guys from another cottage playing bags game with Pastor Bill. And I sat on that picnic table and I thought, who would have ever thought a bunch of alcoholics and addicts like us could be having so much fun without our substance of choice? That was a whole new ballgame for me. It kind of solidified that I was going to be able to have fun eventually, go out into these situations, that it wasn't going to be a life of boredom. A year ago now, I was preparing to discharge. I was very into my recovery. I supported everything. I tried to learn everything I could, CBT, DBT, ACT. Let's put it all in my box because I'm going to do it. But I started getting really scared. In here, it was a cushion. It was easy because I couldn't drive to one of my 3 liquor stores that I used to spread my business over. I had to face what I was going through. But out there, that wasn't going to be there. I decided to take and utilize MAT. When I was first approached about this by Dr. Holtzford, I wanted nothing to do with it. I wasn't going to trade one addiction for another. I didn't know anything about it. But that allowed me to be able to put all of these tools that I had in here in my comfortable zone in place out in the world with less cravings, less things. And it helped me immensely. Relapse prevention was a huge thing in here. And I honestly thought they overdid it with relapse prevention. I mean, come on, don't drink, it's bad. I know this. I had no idea that that was going to be the foundation for my recovery. That was going to be what I utilized the most. And when I'm talking about utilizing those, I'm not talking about what everybody thinks, oh, you got to be careful when a death happens, or a divorce, or you lose your job, or whatever large trauma happens. For me, the times that I battled the hardest were the times at home alone, where I felt like it was me against the world again. I'd drop to my knees, I'd go into everything that I had learned and use that to get through. I'm still in treatment, not here. I've completed outpatient as well. I see therapists to help me with this. I go to AA groups, and I work my recovery every day. And I wouldn't have done that had I not had so many people here actually care that I continued the program and set me up in an IOP with a psychiatrist and with a therapist. Without those, I'd be back to being a drunk. I told you I like to talk, and I seem to be rambling. So let me close this up by just saying that RCA offered me a foundation to build on. But most of all, they offered me hope. I lived a lot of years without hope, a lot of years, and I have hope now. None of us, no person with a use disorder can ever tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. But what I can tell you is that I have hope that I have the ability to fight it. And I will forever thank everyone from Cal, Karen, Dr. Holtzford, Scott, David, everybody, Dr. Mark, everybody, and if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but without them caring and RCA caring, I don't know that I could have any hope for a sober future. I'm sorry, I'll cut it there. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. And we're glad that you're still part of our Alumni Association and so active, because not only is she working her own program, she's helped countless other people with theirs. So thank you. All right, we have 2 awards we're going to hand out. I think we all kind of say the phrase, sometimes it takes a village. I think we talk about that in our communities and raising our families. And I truly believe that in the work that we do. It takes a village. It takes a community. It takes all of us working together to put the pieces in place for the patients that we serve. And so, at RCA, we strive to always be a good community partner and to give back to our community. And one of the things that we do is we want to reach out and support other efforts in the community, other outreach efforts in the community, new programs, new initiatives, exciting and creative ways to reach people. Because we know that moment that someone reaches out for help, and I think you talked about that in your talk, that moment might be very brief. And so we have to be able to have an array of services, a lot of contact points, a whole village for people to be able to be captured in the system and to get help. And so we're going to give out 2 awards today to support programs. Can I bring up our friends from AID to accept an award? We're very excited to present this $5,000 award to AID to help support a new program that they're launching, and I'll let them tell you all about it.
Hi, so my name's Lindsay. I have just started with AID working at the Street Outreach Program, and we are super excited to be able to now offer harm reduction services within our Street Outreach Program. So harm reduction is this beautiful thing where we get to make sure that folks are getting the things that they need to stay safe and alive and loved on for whatever comes next. So that includes a lot of overdose prevention education, Narcan and naloxone training. We do safer use supplies for folks who are still actively using, safer sex supplies for folks who are engaged in sex work. And we also just offer a lot of love and compassion with what we do. We know that this community, oftentimes, we're all speaking of it. How many times can we say stigma, right? But this community is always met with stigma. So the beautiful thing about harm reduction is coming alongside someone and saying, you tell me where you're trying to go, and you tell me how I can help you get there. And with Street Outreach, we physically are actually going to them and able to meet with them where they're at. So a lot of these folks are homeless folks, are street-based folks, and it's really beautiful because we get to connect them, engage them with these services so that they know that someone's looking out for them and someone cares that they survive, especially in an experience if you're experiencing homelessness and you're experiencing addiction. I mean, wow, there's a lot going on there, and the most you can do for folks is offer them some love so that they know. This room knows you have to care about yourself in order to want to get better. And if you're constantly being told you don't matter, then why would you want to recover? You don't matter. So harm reduction comes alongside and says, no, you do matter, and we're going to make sure that you are staying safe. Just real quick story. We all know that overdoses are soaring in our community. We are not immune to this epidemic right now, and I really have to stress that the first responders to the opiate crisis are drug users themselves. I yesterday or a couple days ago was doing outreach, pulled into a train station where folks were kind of hanging around, was giving out harm reduction supplies, and people started to disperse, and I got my little self up on a curb and I said, hold on, I only have one rule. I said, we look out for each other, and we're a community, and that's what harm reduction is. So anyone who just took a kit from me is also gonna take Narcan. That's my only rule. And I said, I'm gonna get mad at all y'all. I didn't say that, if you know me, but if anyone else in Elgin dies of an overdose, because we look out for each other, that's what this means. So people came and took Narcan, and I got a text at 2 in the morning, someone already used theirs. Parking garage, person they knew fell out, is in the ICU right now. So we take care of each other, and that's what Street Outreach is, and that's what harm reduction is. We are a community. We do not say we will love on you when you're sober. We say we will love on you right now. Tell me what you need, and I got you. So we appreciate this because this is truly how we can get this off the ground and do this work in the best way possible. So thank you for having us. Thank you for this gift. We appreciate it so much.
All right, thank you. We have one last award. I think far too often, many years ago, we didn't have the best system to support people that were struggling with substance use and other behavioral health issues. And far too many people that were struggling because there maybe wasn't another place to go, or because, they were doing things that they ended up involved in to continue to try to survive their disease until they could find recovery. And I've been very excited to work in a lot of groups that have really looked at how we can divert people who need to be diverted from the criminal justice system to treatment and recovery and support. And I think we are very, very fortunate here in Kane County to have across the county many departments and officials that are really supporting our patients to seek treatment. And we're very, very excited to get to work with Sheriff Ron Hain. If you want to come up, Sheriff Hain. Who in my many years as a social worker is probably one of the most progressive law enforcement officers I've had the privilege to interact with. And we're really, really excited about some of the things that the Kane County Sheriff's Department is doing to support people in finding recovery and help. And so we are making an award of $10,000 to the Kane County Sheriff's Department to continue their efforts to help people who are struggling with substance use and other behavioral health issues. So let me grab Sheriff Hain's check.
She offered to let a politician stand in front of a microphone. What do you think I'm going to do? So, man, I am humbled by that. That was not just an incredible intro, but such a generous award. So everybody's been talking about stigma here. And Lindsay Hartman is one of the first people who helped us get off the ground in the jail with our program. I have to give huge credit to, there he is, Doc Holtzford, who was our medical driving force to getting our recovery program off inside the jail. But when it comes to stigma, think about people in uniform. We are stuck in an institutional inertia still that I fight on a daily basis to recognize how crime directly relates to addiction. Look, 87% is the stat. 87% of the people in my jail suffer from some sort of addiction issue. Yet prior to me becoming sheriff 3 years ago, we did nothing to treat them. We would turn them back out in the community, and guess what would happen? They wind up right back with us, right? So I just want to quickly share some stats with you because I'm a stat guy, and those metrics kind of give you a direction on where we're headed. We have dropped our recidivism rate at the Kane County Jail in 3 years from 49% compared to the 3 years before I became sheriff to 18%. Well, these people must be committing crimes when they go out in the community, right? No, our crime rate is down 14% the last 3 years compared to the 3 years before that. When we implemented this medically assisted program in our recovery pod in the jail, we have also dropped the overdose deaths of our formerly incarcerated by 89% in the community. Yep. So we still fight that stigma every single day. I know you are our strong community partners in doing so. RCA, having them finally a treatment center here in our community of this caliber means so much to us, and this $10,000 right here is going to go save more lives. So let's think of it that way. This is incredible, just like Lindsay's 5,000 congratulations on that AID. So thank you so much, RCA. I am incredibly humbled by this.
All right, thank you so much for sitting through our program today. We're very, very excited that all of you came. We do have some additional refreshments in the back, so please partake. We have some bags and raffle tickets. For everybody wants to get out your raffle tickets. Thank you, Natalia, for reminding me about our raffle. All right. 539-8345. 539-8345. Do we have a winner? Oh, there is in the back. Except I don't have glasses on, so someone from Symmetria, I can read that. Yeah, we got a winner back there. All right. If you want to see Katie in the back, she'll give you your prize. All right, we're also going to be doing some short tours. They won't be very long. If anyone wants to see a little bit more of the campus, we have our tram out front, and we'll see some of the other buildings around here if anybody has time to stay for a tour. But thank you so much for coming out and celebrating our 1-year anniversary with us. We're grateful for all the work that you do, and we will see you out and around in the community. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Bye-bye.